G'day. I would like to talk to you guys about the greatest con in human history, and that is my flowchart of how it actually happens. So I would suggest making a copy of this if you can, because it really helps in describing to people why the system's really broken and we need to decentralise and disintermediate absolutely everything, including the government and the banks and agreements of all sorts, and just why the system is so toxic. So we're going to talk about that, and I'm going to take you through my flowchart. So right here, at the very, very top, we have the bank, and the bank issues currency to the government. The government give them a bond, and that bond is an IOU. It's a promissory note to say, yes, we'll pay you back that currency that you lent us in the first place with interest on the bond. So that's what that is over there. Now, how are they going to do that? Well, they can do it through taxes and fines, which are coercive force. Then this is how they scare people into paying them and bully people into doing things that people shouldn't really have to do. But let's get to that in a bit. We're going to follow through the flowchart because that's important. So the bank issues the currency to the government give them an IOU, and that IOU, that bond, is backed by human slavery. So what they do to enslave you is they issue you your identity card, your ID, your driving license, your passport, or some other form of official document that has all capital letters and refers to you as Mr. in. So anyway, the government issue that identity to you, and they tell excuse me, and so the government issues that identity to you, and then they tell the human entity, which is you, the human that is subject to law and not the legal system. They tell the human entity that they are this identity, right? Because the identity is within the legal system. It is a legal fiction. The human entity is human, but they create joinery between the human entity and the identity, the legal fiction again. So when the human believes they're the identity, they consent, right? Act, statute, legislation and policy do not have the force of law unless given the consent of the governed. If you do not consent or consider yourself the governed, then this legal system here has nothing to do with you. However, they'll do their best to convince you, the human over here, that you are this, and they will coercively force you into assuming this identity. When people ask you, where's your identity, you tend to pull out a passport or a driver's license. Well, that is you consenting to be that identity, which is within the legal system, which they will put into court, or they will fine, or do all kinds of things, which the identity technically has to do, but it's a bit of paper. The human, the lawful human, not the legal human, the lawful human, does not have to do any of this, which is where the fraud occurs, because they can convince the lawful human that they are the fictional identity. And by doing that, they tax and fine the human rather than the identity. So fraudulently, because they convince this, they deceive the lawful human into believing they're the identity so that they can charge the human. Then, because the tax and fines collected, that legally goes back up to the government. The government then pay back the bond plus interest, or they try to pay back the interest. It's stage 14 bankruptcy. So the government pay back the bond to the bank with the extorted and fraudulent money that they've drilled out of humanity. This is why the noose gets tighter every year. They use systems like quantitative easing and fractional reserve to break people. I hope you enjoy this explanation. If you can please copy it as much as you like. It is Creative Commons. Please copy it and share it and explain to people. I think I'll try and put a link to that picture or thing, and maybe somebody can do something better with it and push it around to educate people. That's why the system's broken. Let's disintermediate and decentralize them, and then we can incentivize people to do the right thing. That's how the system should work, not what I just showed you. It is completely broken and toxic and depressing. We don't want to go there, and it's very dystopian. So let's just stay away from it, move towards fair companies, like the projects that you believe in, the companies doing things that you think are right. You know, I like musical endeavors and things around food and housing. However, if you think that providing value in any way from something else, for example privacy provides value by not being seen, then support those causes. But those causes are movements and software, and they will eat the current system. Hope that's beneficial. Much love.